So, Mary Jo and I just entered the space of the workshop. We are in the Dragon Den in our cove, and we are surrounded by a ring of fire, calling in the phoenix energies. And really, the phoenix energies are part of this transformation. You know, as we're going through the experience of writing our own stories, the phoenix energy is assisting us in alchemizing some of the old narratives and bringing through from the creative center, from the root centers, from the connection to the earth, and to really our full embodied connection to our own story, to the wisdom and the gifts that are coming through. So, with that, Mary Jo and I are just tuning into the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question that
It's
I'm getting is, what are you curious about?
what are you curious about? Me personally or
Collectively.
collectively?
Yes.
So if we're asking the group already who's going to be joining us, what are you curious about? I'm going to kind of invite you to step into the circle. So if you've been poking around, listening in, kind of curious, but not quite sure, I'm going to invite you to feel the energy of this circle, that it's safe and that you can step in and that you can become curious for yourself. What are you noticing, Mary Jo?
Um, there's a lightness and a brightness. I'm noticing that whoever is curious has the light that is shining into the cave. What are you noticing?
Like a flashlight or like their inner light?
Their inner light.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not like a flashlight going like, what's going on? It's more like they're just opening up. Their light is opening up the way ahead. Um, that's what I'm seeing, and it's getting brighter and um,
Mm. I think that's like really relevant to the Lionsgate passage that we just went through,
mm,
activating through the solar sun, our own inner sun, or that solar
yes,
plexus space. And what does it feel like to shine your light out into the world and to
yes,
shine light on your own story?
yes. And to know that your light is actually already shining through you.
Yeah. When will we know? That's what I'm hearing. When will we know?
Mm,
There's like, that's the anticipation of the alchemy. It's like you don't know when you're going to get your aha moments. You don't know what it's going to be like when you're in that space of alchemy.
yeah.
For me, like my experience of being held in a space when someone's actually holding a container and I'm
Hmm.
in it, it's
Hmm.
a little overwhelming. It can be a little scary because you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know what you are transforming into.
Right.
But on the other side, you can hold that trust in yourself because when
Yeah.
you're coming into the heart space, and that's where we're bringing through the frequency of the dragon heart in this space, it gives you a trust of that inner knowing that whatever's coming through is right for you.
Yeah.
And so it's not really about when, it's almost more of a how.
Yeah. Trust is the word that was coming up to me right before you said it, actually. That there's trust your inner knowing, trust your inner light. It's actually leading you, it's preceding you
Right.
um, in. And so there's a allowing um, that is going to happen and and trusting that movement.
Right. Right. I kind of want to take us through like an exercise with that.
Yeah, okay.
And If you're tuning in, just let yourself settle into your solar plexus. Just breathing into that space below the ribs and fully trusting your own inner light. And you can imagine that area like a sphere of light, and it may even show up as a certain color. And I'm just going to invite you to go in deeper into that space and expand your own light. And even if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, can you allow it to expand to that kind of outer reach or that outer limit that you've put previously on that discomfort, and just stretch out a little bit further? And just notice how that feels in your body. I'm seeing all of your suns. You can even stretch out a little bit more if you like. There's plenty of room. There's more than enough space. There's actually infinite space. There is no limit to your light, to your own inner sun, to your own inner resource. So if you can invite in the possibility of shining your light in the world and not knowing what it's going to look like, and not knowing how you may show up or what you're going to be creating, but allowing yourself to fully step into the embodied feeling of this light shining out, fully trusting yourself as you are. Some of you are getting downloads right now. So, depending on whether you perceive through your senses or perceive intuitively through your extra senses, I want you to tune into your strength and the way through which you know something is true for you, the unique way that you perceive. And allow yourself the permission to receive the information that you need to know in this moment as you are navigating a new space and a new way of being that you have never experienced before. And when you're ready, come back into your body, come back into your space. Open your eyes when you're ready. That was nice.
Yeah. What I experienced was just this huge cavern of light and people being awed by their light and coming in and forming a circle.
I can see that circle now. Yeah, it's just like a big circle of glowing bulbs of light, people light. It's really beautiful. It's
Mm.
almost kind of contagious when one person shines their light really bright and somebody's standing next to them and they're kind of afraid of shining their light
Mhm.
brighter. It kind
Mhm.
of gives them a push and then they're like, oh, I know it's safe. I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting. The conversations we were having last week, Mary Jo, there were so many other themes coming through that we're like, oh, we got to talk about this next week. And it just feels like the clarity of the space is coming through, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like fully trusting each person to access their own wisdom.
Hmm. The other thing that I want to say is that you're welcome in your light and your dark, meaning your, you know, shadow or unexamined things that you may not be thrilled about, that it's welcome in this space and you can hold it both.
Right. Definitely. I can relate to that as far as so I've been going through my own writing process this month and it's taken me through a journey already. Oh man. And that's been a huge theme is holding the light in the dark
Yeah.
and embracing the bigger picture,
Hmm.
because I can look back at experiences and like particularly relationships and it's like I can see, all the things that were dysfunctional or distorted or caused pain and, emotional distress. And yet I can still look at all of the beauty and all of the gifts. And there's something about going back. It's almost like it's like as if there are pieces of myself that were inside of those vignettes or those capsules of
Mm.
time. And
Hmm.
then it's like I could go in and through the process of writing actually kind of like renegotiate my relationship to being in those times and then pull
Hmm.
forward a version of myself that felt empowered and strong and grateful. And even if it was like really hard to be
Hmm.
in those experiences, like that I could see, I could see it without like I could still see the suffering in it,
Right.
but just really more gratitude.
Mm.
And I could give you an example,
Yeah.
one that came through. So in, let's see, 2022, my former partner Grigori and I were in Costa Rica for 6 weeks. And at that time, I was going through my own deep alchemical journey through the gene key system. And
Mm.
so, if you're not familiar with that, you can Google it, but it's a way of going inward and looking at your different characteristics and gifts and challenges that you work through in this life from
Hmm.
like an archetypal energetic system.
Hmm.
It's really specific. And so, I was going through that experience and well, so Gregory and I, we were going from city to city. And on the second week, we were in a town called Santa Teresa on the western side of Costa Rica. And
Okay.
we both got really, really sick. Like, and I started writing this story, and because I was just asking the question of what is my what is my spirit wanting to reveal to me through writing today? And that story came up, and I was kind of surprised because I kind of forgot about it.
Hmm.
Um, but what went down is that we were staying in an Airbnb, and it was kind of like an Airbnb village, and it was made out of shipping containers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the energy in the shipping containers was nauseating. Whatever had happened in those shipping containers or whatever energy had never been cleared was disgusting. And the Airbnb itself was kind of cute, but between that and when we got there, people were coughing all over the place, and it was clear it was like an international village, so people were coming from all over the world during a time when like COVID was still kind of an issue, and
Mm.
we both got really sick, and I I was just recounting that experience, and one beautiful memory that came through that I wouldn't have acknowledged had I not gone back into the writing piece was that when I was sick, we kind of took turns. It was like I was out for 3 days and I was like delirious. I had a high fever. Um, it was like borderline dangerous. Like I could have gone to the hospital. I was that ill. And same
Wow.
thing happened with Grigori. Like had we not had each other taking care of each other, we it's possible that it could have been dangerous. So and we were in
Mm.
like in a foreign country, and it's like those questions of like what do you do when this kind of thing happens? And of course, it's the last thing you want to happen in a foreign country, right?
Definitely.
Um, you
I
understand
have
that,
my own, yeah, I have my own
right?
stories for another time on that one.
Right, right. So yeah, so the first 3 days when I was sick, he was giving me acupuncture. We're both, we met in acupuncture school, so carried our first aid kits of acupuncture needles, and we had chlorine dioxide that we were taking, and and he was doing energy work on me. He had this kind of history of working with a modality called reconnective healing. And I didn't remember that because I was so delirious and in my like kind of fever dream kind of state. And when I went back into the writing space, I remember him over me doing this energy work. And then I was in this high fever state, and it like literally pulled the heat out of my body.
Wow.
And that was like, it was just so interesting to see that that relationship that we had. And like even though like the experience was so difficult, like on my end, I remembered when he was sick, I was outside cooking for him. There's like an outdoor kitchen, and
Mm.
yeah, I was like making eggs and vegetables and whatever, and like kind of making him a soup or something, and doing acupuncture, and it was like, just kind of endearing, the experience of taking care of each other, even though it was so awful.
Right, right. But you were
And
there for each other.
yeah, and then like at the end of it, I remember we were sitting out by the ocean and he was like still kind of like weak and feverish, but like on the, kind of the worst of it was over. And he was sitting in the tide pools of water, and there are little crabs on the rocks. And in his like kind of semi delirium, he was just like playing with the crabs, these
Wow.
tiny little inch long creatures. And I'm just looking at him and just seeing this like pure, innocent being.
Mm.
And I think I ended that chapter of my writing just saying that I'm always going to remember his innocence.
Oh, oh, that's beautiful.
Ooh, makes me emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful to be able to tap back into that.
Yeah. So that was like a really beautiful alchemical piece through
Yeah.
the writing that I didn't expect. And I mean, every time I go in, I learn something new that I forgot that I didn't expect to access again and really shed light on. But I think that's kind of the light shining process, going back in,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, that's, the bigger meaning, the bigger relationship and the learning about caring for each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I mean, the chapter itself also included, I went down the rabbit hole of talking about all the times I got sick while we were together and all the times I was cared for and cared for him.
And what meaning did you make out of that? I'm curious.
I mean, it was really kind of going back full circle to the gratitude of having somebody there to support me and to support during those times of like literally near death experiences.
Mm.
Like
Wow.
I haven't really shared my experiences getting sick during COVID times, whether or not it was COVID or something else. I don't know because I didn't get tested or whatever. But it was like I had the experience twice when I was living in Colorado of getting really sick. And one time I literally felt like I was going through a black hole. And it was like just absolutely dismal. Um, and it felt like dying. Like there was a part of me that felt like I was dying. And it wasn't until later that I went back into that memory and I pulled myself back out.
Hmm.
Like I lost part of myself that I had to retrieve, like a soul retrieval.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
That is
And
intense.
like during all of it, like I was so weak that I literally couldn't walk. Like I would just fall over.
Wow.
It was that intense. And Grigori was there running around like getting me homeopathy and making medicinal mushroom teas and getting me like a nebulizer to inhale to help with my breathing and like
Wow.
it was just it was a lot.
What was the piece that needed to be retrieved?
That's a really good question. I mean, I don't think I could label it.
Uh-huh.
I honestly can't label it.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's too etheric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to contemplate.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huh.
but it's almost like it felt like in that experience that like something energetically was pulled out of my body, like part of my vitality, and like even for months after that, I felt weak.
Mm.
And it's like yes, I could function and kind of do things at a certain level, but like my full strength wasn't there. My umph wasn't fully there, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
something about like when you do a retrieval of aspects, like for me, it's like it feels like a light bulb shines again, or or a piece of light or energy, like a fullness, a vibrancy enters the body again, and it's like as if you had like a dead limb or something, and then all of a sudden it was full of life.
Mm.
But that's an over exaggeration because it's almost like there's like these layers of the spirit that hold different types of frequencies.
Yeah.
So bringing it back in, it's like it's a homecoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's
The
been a
body
very big
remembers
journey.
even if cognitively you don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, but I've had a lot of experiences retrieving parts of myself. And whether or not they're parts of myself that I lost in this life, you know, sometimes, you know, I can acknowledge when something was left in another life off planet somewhere else. Retrieve those pieces too. And that's been a whole process throughout my own spiritual journey in this last 7 year cycle. It's been kind of a homecoming. It's pulling myself back in after having some really, really intense experiences, knowing what it's like to be pulled apart
Yeah.
and ungrounded in so many
Right.
ways,
Right.
you know.
Almost like once you've been dismembered, you're being remembered.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the homecoming. And here I am planting roots in Charlottesville, Virginia, after being displaced from a hurricane and a house fire and blah blah blah. Like I'm done with the moving around part. That was fun. It was great. But yeah, that's the theme of this end of my Saturn return cycle because my Saturn return ends in January. this next
Mm.
January.
Okay.
I'm turning 35. So, yeah, I get to complete this cycle, and for me it's a homecoming. That
Beautiful.
might be the name of my story, something about coming home,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure yet.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
It's the name of your story for now.
for now. Yeah. I kind of want to talk a little bit about that Saturn return cycle.
And the two major Saturn returns in most people's lives or that are possible, are in your late 20s and early 30s. That's the first Saturn return. And then in your late 50s and early 60s is the second Saturn return. And that's basically the moments of adulting. And so you get to adult in your late 20s and early 30s, and then you get to revisit it again um, later in life.
What is that like to revisit it? Like, because you've gone through your second Saturn return now, right?
Yes.
So did you notice like that overlay of revisiting things that happened in your first Saturn return?
Well,
Like
yeah,
the
they were
relationship.
so different actually. My first Saturn return, I actually that was when I got married and and was living in New York City and working in a corporate job um and settling down first in apartments and then in a home for the first time, like buying my first home, our first home. And so it was like embarking on the traditional life that you think of. It's like you're going to get married and you're going to, like be in your career and you're going to have, this beautiful home and so that's kind of where I was at during the first Saturn return for myself. And then the second, well, and then, midlife Uranus opposition, that's when my husband died, um, in a foreign country, which is the story that I was alluding to earlier. And, and so since then, my life has looked very, very different. And so it's now more, it's hard to put into words. I would say that this Saturn return was more about it was very focused on um I'm going to call it right sizing my life
Mm,
and um you know sort of what home revisiting what home means and what was really necessary and finding the right balance.
mm.
And I wouldn't say that it was perfect. it's
Is it
it's
ever?
definitely a work in progress, but it feels necessary.
Yeah.
So,
Did you along the path like have any resistance
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
to actually revisiting it or, confronting, what needs to happen on the physical plane or what did that look
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't just my own internal resistance, it was also external resistance. And part of the messiness is definitely more um for me feels like, dealing with how it shifted relationships.
Mm. Mm.
And so there's this balance between having an internal knowing about what needs to happen and then how that plays out when you actually take action and do it.
Right.
And you're not just affecting yourself, you're affecting other people.
Right. And
So
there's only
then,
so much you can do as far as like being you're the active participant, but in relationship to somebody else, you can't control the outcome because of their choices too.
right. But you also have to be with the outcome and live, like um, communicate and negotiate. So, so that was a big learning for me, which is, I would say, learning to stand in my knowing and at the same time, you know, be with be with the repercussions and also help support people through, through the change as well.
Hmm.
Um, even when I'm triggered by it.
Right.
So, but in the end, in the end, it's all working out. It was pretty rocky for, I would say, at least a year.
Right. Well, it's so interesting because, like, when I'm thinking about the theme of homecoming and what it's
Mm.
like to create home inside and out,
Mm-hmm.
it's like maybe during that first Saturn return, it's like if you're learning what it feels like to be home
Mm.
in a certain respect, whether it's like creating it on the outside or creating it on the inside, it's almost like the second Saturn return is like, what is it like to just own it and to like stand in that power,
Right.
and to be unshakable,
Yeah.
and then to see what happens when you can just be the presence of yourself as
Right.
your own home.
Right. It's not always smooth sailing.
Right. I mean,
But
I can speak from I kind of consider myself a bit of a unicorn of a person. So I'm like the way I like to live and exist in the world is pretty unconventional. And I
hmm
think a lot of people would disagree with how I do things, you know? So it's like I don't know. I just feel like with like this kind of relational field on this planet, it's like how do you show up and fully own that authentic power that you are,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
own it, your own inner resolve of being and existing as a unique being. Um,
I think part of it is finding communities of support and, being with people who really allow you to be who you are and help you thrive and flourish in that.
right. And then it's like navigating things when there's pushback too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that if you have, some kind of anchoring or solid grounding,
Right.
then you can be pushed and, you know,
It's like a tree.
yeah, like a tree.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Be your own tree.
Yeah.
What kind of tree are you? I've asked that to many people before.
What kind of tree am I?
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Ooh. I want to say an ash tree, but I don't know enough about it.
That's maybe something to explore.
It definitely.
I love it. I think I would be an oak.
I would
And
like to be an oak, but I don't know that that's what I am. Yes.
yeah, we could do an entire podcast just on trees, I'm sure.
I'm sure we could.
But I kind of feel like maybe we can come to a close today with our conversation that has branched off in several different directions.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Pun
Hmm.
intended. Um,
Unintended.
so yeah, I just want to kind of just I want to let everybody know who's going to be joining us in this group that like I see you, and I'm really excited to have you in the space with us and to guide you through your own inner unraveling and alchemy.
And rooting
and rooting,
and branching out.
rooting and branching, rooting and branching. Hmm. It goes equally in both directions.
Yes. And the other thing that some people may or may not be aware of is that in the winter, when it looks like trees have actually died, they've lost their leaves or whatever, they're actually growing their roots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So, so just because nothing is appearing on the surface, lots is happening inside, deep in the earth.
right. That's a good point. That's what we're doing, growing roots.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then branching out.
So, if you want to join us for this beautiful writing journey, we are going to be starting on September 9th on Tuesday. It's going to be 4 Tuesdays for 2 hours from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. And the early bird discount is available until August 19th. So you have a week to sign up for that to get $100 off. And if you find us later, you can still sign up until the 8th of September. So we hope to see you there. And we're so grateful to be your guides and support you in your journey.
Yeah. Thank you.